Chris tries to attack Sneako and then plays the victim. Mad Jimmy kept the "and not your loser ass," referencing the fact that Sneako used to be in MrBeast videos, as you can see here. Oh look, who's that? I wonder who that is to Sneako's right. Sneako responds correctly, "I became my own man. You leeched off of one and still failed." Completely true. Okay guys, the internet's kind of been on fire recently because today Sneako called out one of the crew on MrBeast. And it started what I think is a new conversation in that the left is now realizing people are not willing to go along with their lies just in order to be called a good person anymore. Another way of saying that is that people aren't afraid to say they're delusional. A lot of my videos recently have been calling out the absolute delusion of many feminists and describing the reason why they're mentally broken. What makes this even more interesting is one of the original guys from the MrBeast squad. One of the dudes, he's known as like the Viking guy. He was a part of many MrBeast videos. He left maybe a couple years ago, but he used to be a part of the channel back when Chris was Chris. And he's tweeted in favor of people calling out Chris for abandoning his family and basically being a bad father. And throughout this video, I'm not going to say why he's a bad father because that will get in the way of you seeing the video, if you know what I'm saying. Go check out my weekly update on the censorship log that I uploaded yesterday if you're interested in more details on that. But everyone knows why Chris is a bad father. And this is why I said that people are becoming less and less afraid. What is that outside? That looks like a UFO. Anyway, people are becoming less and less afraid to openly disagree with the left and say, yeah, we're not gonna go along with these lies. And this guy has a major social media platform, and so he's one of these people. But it doesn't even end there. I'm gonna show you guys the video. Here's Sneako talking about it, and he's the guy who originally started this. And as you can tell, he's in a massive Twitter beef online. But Chris is getting ratioed on every single one of his likes. Keep in mind, MrBeast, the leader of that channel, goes out of his way to not engage in anything political because he doesn't want his brand to be political. He probably does have his own beliefs, but he doesn't say them out loud. So when people dogpile him on X saying, why are you not speaking out against this? This is terrible. From either side, he never does.
And I know MrBeast, bro. You guys know that I used to do videos back in the day. Been pretty open about that. And I guarantee you, if I could gamble and I could bet, or I could just like do a lie detector, Jimmy, you know this is bullshit.
Of course he does. Any thinking human does. And also, Jimmy's in what, North Carolina or something like that? I've been to North Carolina. Amazing beaches, but also very based population, if you know what I'm saying.
You don't want to sacrifice your business. You don't want to get the liberal mob to hate you. And so maybe you even tricked yourself into believing this stuff, but in your soul...
It's a sad day when you have to cater to unthinking NPCs so that they buy your chocolate. You'll never catch me doing that. That's really, really unfortunate.
You know that this is wrong, but you're stuck. You started this business with Chris Tyson. How are you going to abandon him now? Everybody's going to know that it's the bad PR for the fact that you have a...
What makes this more disturbing, guys, is that this complete loser, and when I say loser, I'm not talking about it in terms of money. I'm talking about it in terms of literally failing his family, which as a man is the greatest failure you can achieve. Failing to be there for your family, failing to be a father, failing to be a husband is the greatest failure a man can achieve because that comes first. Chris tries to attack Sneako and then plays the victim. Mad Jimmy kept the "and not your loser ass," referencing the fact that Sneako used to be in MrBeast videos, as you can see here. Oh look, who's that? I wonder who that is to Sneako's right. Sneako responds correctly, "I became my own man. You leeched off of one and still failed." Completely true. Sneako was not going to say this, and obviously he got ratioed 1.4 thousand likes to 700 likes. Even the woke mob can't keep up with the number of base people that are willing to call this stuff out these days. But Chris tried to attack Sneako and then played the victim when he got ratioed and people are actually speaking out against him because they're no longer afraid of the radical left. Here's Chris tweeting just hours ago underneath a MrBeast post. They just want to villainize people. Whenever they realize and accept that I am in his life, referencing his kid, arguably more than most parents are able to be. I'll address that in a minute. They say I'll ruin him far worse things. They don't actually care. They just want to move the goalpost so that they can go, see, people bad. No, but again, ironically, as you're trying to play the victim after you just attacked Sneako in a very personal way, and still failed because you are a failure in comparison to Sneako. Sneako built his own brand. Chris is actually the one moving the goalposts here, because that's not what people are criticizing him for. They're criticizing him for being a bad father, which he is. And when he says he's able to spend more hours around his kid, he would have been able to do that before because he had the same financial freedom that he has now. He was making tons of money with MrBeast. But that's like saying an abusive, terrible father can spend a lot of time with his kid. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? No, it's a bad thing. That's why people are saying this is a bad thing. But it's so ironic that he moved the goalposts, as you see here, then accused someone else of moving the goalposts, then played the victim after attacking Sneako. By the way, I'm not a big fan of Sneako. I'm not one of those guys that follows all the stuff that he does. His brand and his content is kind of casual and not as like intellectually rigorous as is my taste. But I'm still going to call people out for being intellectually dishonest with him. These days, intellectual dishonesty is defining most of the left-wing ecosphere because they've just devolved so far away from using logic and reason and rationality. To them, logic, reason, and rationality are just oppressive tools. They're oppressive constructs in the patriarchy. Logic, reason, oh no, those things result in conclusions we can't abide by. Here's Nick Merckx, major Call of Duty streamer who is now streaming on either Rumble or Kick, I forget which. But the point is he's beyond the reach of liberals canceling him and preventing him from being able to feed his kids. And interestingly how, when that's the case, you suddenly start to speak out against the left. It's almost as if they have a monopoly and punish people for saying things they disagree with in direct violation of our laws and constitution. Anyway, he says you should be ashamed of yourself, leaving behind your wife and child to play pretend. One day you'll wake up and realize what you've done. Keep in mind, not just, anon accounts or people with not many followers that are calling out Chris. Lots of people are now unafraid to oppose this level of complete mental illness. And this is mental illness, guys. If you don't recognize this as mental illness, you are mentally ill. And that's what it comes down to. If somebody has to explain to you why this is wrong, why this is mentally ill, you are mentally ill. You deny reality for an ideology. But I know many of the people watching this are based, and those are the only people that matter anyway, so really what we see from all of this is that the left is pushing themselves further and further away from not just the right, but from the middle, from sanity itself, and even from reason, rationality, and basic truth. Once you accept that truth is derivable from reality itself, from the world, whether that be science, mathematics, reason, philosophy, and not from something as arbitrary and low resolution, corrupted and narcissistic as an individual's ideology or a political ideology or some sort of dark, resentful manifesto from 2 centuries ago, then you realize just how serious the problem's getting. We have leftists that are not just demonizing the truth. We have them demonizing the tools that reveal the truth and calling those tools oppression. And any person that uses those tools, much less disagrees with them, but even uses those tools, they're labeled oppressive. They're labeled bad people because they're prioritizing those mechanisms of truth, those tools of truth, reason, rationality, and logic over a certain ideology that says you must say this person is X even though they are clearly not that. And that's scary because the central aspect to a tyranny is that you're required to lie. You're required to lie for the government. You're required to lie for an ideology. You're required to lie for a certain philosophy. And right now, there is one political party that is requiring you to lie about everything because they've demonized the objective parameters that allow us to understand and comprehend the world. Guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments. It feels like things have shifted. I know the left feels it. You can tell from the way they're panicking that they don't have control over people's minds. You can tell in the way people are no longer afraid to go against them. I appreciate all of you watching. Be sure to like the video and hit the bell so that you stay tuned and can immediately click on my videos when they release so that they don't get censored as much. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I have a really, really good video for tomorrow planned.